From CBS News Bay Area, this is the Morning Edition.
Good morning and thanks for starting your day with us. Today is Saturday, July 26th. I'm Max Darrow. Here's a look at what we've got at the top of the rundown today. Strike averted for the least at the time being. Safeway workers won't be hitting the picket lines today. Union leaders say they have made some progress in talks with the company and decided to delay a strike at least for now. The original deadline was midnight, but we've learned negotiations will continue. Workers at more than 250 stores say they want better pay, health care coverage, and working conditions. After 5 months of talks, union negotiators say they will stay at the table as long as Safeway does too. Tesla reportedly plans to test its robotaxis in the Bay Area this weekend, but the state PUC says Tesla has not applied for the necessary authorization. An internal Tesla memo viewed by Business Insider says they are ready to roll out the program, and Tesla owners will be invited to test the service. It also says an employee will be inside each robotaxi with access to the steering wheel and the brakes. A heads up for drivers in Fremont and the East Bay this weekend. Caltrans has closed down a portion of southbound 680 at the Mission San Jose overpass. This is to complete critical bridge and pavement repairs. The stretch of the freeway will remain closed until Monday morning at 5 o'clock. First Alert meteorologist Zoe Mintz joins us now live on this Saturday morning. And Zoe, I feel like we've had a little bit of a weather roller coaster. Every morning's been a little bit different. This morning, I needed some windshield wipers, but halfway through the drive, I was able to turn them off. A big difference from yesterday.
Yeah, and it really depends where you're located as well. Closer to the coast, San Francisco, yeah, we're having to use the windshield wipers. Farther inland, yeah, it's foggy, but it's not as low-hanging fog. The visibility isn't as bad. So if you're planning on making a trip along the coast today or directly along the bay, that's where you'll probably need to give yourself an extra minute or two and have those windshield wipers going. But above the clouds and again, farther inland, yes, there is a layer of fog, but it's not necessarily decreasing our visibility. A beautiful view from on top of Black Mountain where you see the sun rising, the beautiful colors, as well as that little layer of fog, just reminding you that the atmosphere is a fluid and it moves like one, rolling in kind of like the ocean. But underneath the clouds, no one would see that beautiful sunrise. That includes most of us in San Francisco and the rest of the Bay. We're waking up to a gloomy start to our day. Those temperatures right now sitting in the upper 50s to even below 60s down in San Jose. Again, mild conditions to kick off the day. And if we take a look at our satellite right now, you can see all of that fog continuing to build in. But you might notice it's not nearly as thick or as dense directly along the coast, and it's actually going to take a little bit longer for that fog to peel back. It's not going to be until the very later parts of the morning and into the early afternoon. And you notice that finger of fog that's going to continue to stream through the Golden Gate all afternoon long. But there are changes on the way with a lot more sunshine and a bit of heat. I'll let you know when you can expect that coming up in just a bit. Back to you, Max.
Thank you for that, Zoe. We'll look forward to that. In San Francisco, tensions flared as Kaiser nurses and transgender advocates rallied against new healthcare policies from the giant, suit where Kaiser is suspending gender-affirming surgeries for patients under 19 years old. What started as a peaceful protest quickly turned heated when anti-trans demonstrators showed up. Some healthcare workers called Kaiser's decision a step backwards for trans youth, saying it's politically motivated and not based on medical research. Others at the rally argued kids need more time to grow before they make life-altering decisions. They're urging more caution and support instead of quick medical interventions.
I have a very close relationship with my doctor and those nurses, and they are so lovely. And so this absolutely breaks my heart, not just for me, not just for my patients, but like all of those practitioners who I know for a fact have nothing to do with this decision, don't agree with this decision, and now have their hands tied behind their backs.
Every person in authority has failed them when they should have pumped the brakes, assured them and said, hey, you're good. Just take some time, sort it out, don't make any rash decisions.
Kaiser says the policy pause is temporary while it reviews current practices. But critics worry it is part of a larger shift because of pressure from the Trump administration. Planned Parenthood is closing 5 clinics across Northern California. Its affiliate Marmonte is blaming federal budget cuts from the Trump administration's Big Beautiful Bill. The shuttered clinics are in South San Francisco, San Mateo, Santa Cruz, Gilroy, and Madera. The Big Beautiful Bill eliminated federal Medicaid funding to organizations that provide abortions. Planned Parenthood says more service reductions are likely across Northern California. Pro-choice leaders say this is a step backwards. Anti-abortion advocates say public funds should not support any part of an organization connected to abortion services, even if the money doesn't directly fund those procedures.
We looked at whether there are other health centers that was part of our criteria available within that community if we could not provide that care.
I'm pleased that it's happening. I think being able to participate in the Medicaid program or Medi-Cal is a privilege, not a right. And frankly, Planned Parenthood's abortion business is able to be propped up and sustained because they participate in the Medicaid program.
Planned Parenthood and the 47 Planned Parenthood affiliates, including Marmonti, filed a lawsuit this month challenging the Trump administration's bill. They called the legislation, quote, an unconstitutional attack. A Sacramento area mom and her infant daughter have been missing for more than a week now. Whisper Owen and her 8-month-old daughter, Sandra, were last seen in Fresno on July 15th and were spotted on traffic cameras in Atwater in Merced County just a few hours later. Since then, no sign of her, the baby, or the silver SUV. Family members are now fearing the worst.
Something happened to my daughter. She didn't disappear on her own. She didn't run away from this family. She didn't run away from her other children.
Owen's mom says she was in good spirits and believes that something did go wrong on that drive home from Fresno. The family urges anyone between Atwater and Sacramento to check surveillance cameras if they have them. They say even a glimpse of her car could help with the investigation and help in finding her. Morgan Hill police just stopped 2 financial scams targeting seniors. They say one involved a fake FBI call, the other a phishing email. In the first case, detectives arrested a suspect after $30,000 in cash was handed off. In the second case, police intercepted a $15,000 package before it reached the scammers. So police are urging families all across Morgan Hill and really the Bay Area to talk with elderly loved ones and tell them that if something feels off, it probably is. In San Francisco, we are getting a better look at how traffic shifted after the city closed part of the Great Highway to create the new Sunset Dunes Park. A new SFMTA report shows traffic jumped 21% on Chain of the Lakes Drive after the closure. However, the number of cars on the stretch of the Great Highway that is still open near Lincoln has dropped. The city added signals and turn lanes to help people navigate the area, but some people are still angry about the changes. Supervisor Joel Engardio, who represents the area, does face a recall vote in September. Meantime, some stats on the new park about visitation. It's getting more than 30,000 visitors a week. In the South Bay, San Jose is teaming up with PG&E to power up its AI expansion. Mayor Matt Mahan announced the partnership to upgrade the city's electric grid to support the rapidly rising demand from new data centers in the area. Listen.
PG&E is literally funding roles in economic development and public works to make sure we can move faster as a city and do our part to help deliver those permits and approvals faster.
Mayor Mahan says this partnership will help position San Jose as the West Coast's premier data center hub. The utility says it could even help lower power bills by spreading its costs out over more large-scale energy customers. It is a comeback rooted in resilience. Thousands of people are heading to Gilroy Gardens this weekend for the 3-day Gilroy Garlic Festival. The fire-blazing pans at Gourmet Alley are back. They're drawing long lines for a taste of the famous garlic fries and much more there. It's the city's first garlic festival since the 2019 mass shooting and COVID pandemic. Each day's attendance is capped at 3,000 tickets. The weekend is totally sold out. And even though the venue is smaller and it's a much smaller crowd than they've seen in previous years, Gilroy natives say they are just happy this famous festival is finally back.
When it ended, it was a stab in the heart for all of us. And we know that, life changes and adjusts and shifts, and that's what happened to us. But here we are picking up right where we left off. Maybe not location-wise, but in our hearts and our spirits, we are here. We love Gilroy, and we love the Garlic Festival.
Organizers say they are already planning for a possible expansion next year. 6:10 on this Saturday morning. Let's take a look at some of the other events happening all around the Bay Area today and this weekend. An event today in Oakland is helping thousands of Bay Area kids gear up for the new school year. The Lend a Hand Foundation is hosting its Stay in School packing event at the Cypress Mandela Center. Volunteers will stock about 6,000 backpacks with school supplies for local students. A young saxophonist will be there to play some music for everybody in attendance. That begins at 9 o'clock this morning. Congressman Mark Desaulniers will be hosting what he is calling an outdoor environmental town hall and resource fair. That's happening this morning in Oakland at 10 o'clock. He'll talk about climate action and the issue of clean energy cuts and take questions from the community. A new exhibit opens today at San Francisco's Museum of Modern Art that celebrates the legacy of the San Francisco Art Institute. It's called People Make This Place. It features work from more than 50 alumni and faculty, along with rare posters, photos, and music flyers from the school's creative history. A giant sea serpent has slithered into Golden Gate Park. The 100-foot-long sculpture, first seen at Burning Man, makes its debut today near Rainbow Falls in the park. The city is marking the moment with sea shanties and a mermaid parade. That kicks off at 10 o'clock this morning if you want to check it out. Coming up after the break, it may not look like much right now. This looks like nothing on your screen, but we'll tell you the future is looking much brighter from this. We'll get that story to you when we come back.
And we got a beautiful shot of some fog in downtown San Francisco. You can just barely see the top of Salesforce Tower from this view, but it is going to stay pretty foggy across San Francisco this afternoon. However, there are changes on the way. There is a bit of a warm-up and more sunshine to look forward to. I'll let you know when you can expect that coming up in just a bit.
Zoe is here to tell us a lot about how this summer, if I understand it right, is one of the coolest that we have seen in decades?
Yes, since 1982, technically, San Francisco's coldest summer. So if you thought it's been chilly, you're not wrong. Normally San Francisco chilly, but we're not this chilly normally. Yes, exactly. So just kind of want to break things down in terms of 70-degree days, because since the start of the year, since January 1st, downtown San Francisco has observed 14 70-degree days. But since the start of the summer season, since June 1st, we have only felt 2 70-degree days. So only 2 of those 14 70-degree days actually occurred during the summertime. And to put things into more perspective, normally during the summer at this point, we would have already seen 14 days just from June 1st to July 25th. So yes, we are well below average when it comes to our 70-degree days and well below average when it comes to our average high temperatures this summer, putting us at our coldest start since 1982. And this afternoon, we're not going to be adding a 70-degree day on there. We're going to continue to stay below average with our highs only in the mid-60s. And our inland communities, this is the area that has definitely been feeling the cool down. Mid-70s this afternoon, very similar to what we felt yesterday, and we're going to continue to feel these below average temperatures for at least the rest of the month. But there is a bit of a warm up on the way as we are expecting our winds to shift just a bit. Right now, they're coming in from that onshore direction, ushering in quite a lot of fog across the Bay Area and keeping that fog pretty stubborn throughout this afternoon, especially along our coastal communities and directly along the path of the Golden Gate. Likely not going to be seeing all too much sunshine today, especially if you do live in San Francisco, especially in the western half of the city where you're used to seeing more fog. Expect those foggier conditions this afternoon as well. Those high temperatures are going to stay in the low 60s directly along the coast, mid to upper 60s to low 70s by the bay, and then mid 70s across our inland communities. Maybe some upper 70s sprinkled down into the Santa Clara Valley, but honestly, well below average for this time of year. And if you do live inland, honestly, this is some comfortable heat that you can get out and enjoy the sunshine, enjoy the day outdoors without being aggressively hot like you normally are this time of year. So let's enjoy the comfortable heat while we can. Tomorrow afternoon is going to be much of the same, although it might be a degree or two warmer. You can see a few low 80s sprinkled in there, and there will be a lot more low 80s that will be returning to the forecast as we step out into next week as well. So there is warmer weather that's going to be arriving along with a bit more sunshine, so things to keep our eyes on. If you've been waiting for the warmer weather, it will be returning as our winds are going to be shifting from the onshore direction. They've been gusting anywhere from 20 to 35 miles an hour each and every day of this past week. They'll be quieting down just a little bit starting tomorrow and continuing to come in from that southerly direction and usher in warmer weather as soon as next week. It's not going to be above average, but just back to more seasonable. If you're heading out to the San Francisco Marathon early tomorrow morning, though, it's going to be really, really nice for it. Foggy conditions to kick off the day. There should be more sunshine returning by the later parts of the morning when everyone is finishing up the race. You should be finishing up in sunshine, but hopefully starting it on a more comfortable and foggier note because you don't want full sunshine when you're running outside. Either way, though, temperatures are going to return back to more seasonable with 80s in the forecast across our inland communities. That will be starting on Monday and continuing into the upcoming week, and likely going to stay that way seasonable all across the Bay Area. Upper 60s to low 70s returning for areas by the Bay. We'll be staying in the mid to lower 60s along our coastal communities, but either way, very little changes and no extreme heat on the horizon, which is great news for this time of year.
Got to continue with WNBA star Caitlin Clark because she keeps breaking records even off the court. Her rookie card just sold for an impressive price, setting a new milestone in women's sports collectibles. The rookie card sold for $660,000, smashing the previous record for a women's card, which also was that of Caitlin Clark. The autographed card includes a game-worn jersey patch and her handwritten stat line, 769 points and counting. Collectors are calling this the holy grail of WNBA basketball cards. Clark has been battling injuries lately, though, in her second season with the Indiana Fever. Coming up after the break, President Trump is now in Scotland for a few days of golfing and meetings with trade with Europe. But back home, questions persist about his administration's handling of the Jeffrey Epstein case. We'll have the latest there. Plus, cross-border clashes continue for a third day between Cambodia and Thailand, causing mass displacements of civilians, killing more than 30. Zoe.
Let's take a look at this beautiful shot of a sunrise on top of Black Mountain. I feel like there should be some music, just letting you know it's going to be a beautiful day, although it might be a little bit foggier, especially if you live in San Francisco. I'll let you know what you can expect this afternoon and the rest of the weekend coming up in just a bit.
From CBS News Bay Area, this is the Morning Edition.
Welcome back. The time is 6:29 on this Saturday morning. Thanks for joining us. I'm Max Darrow. Zoe Mintz is here. And Zoe, we've got a lot of big events happening this weekend, including the San Francisco Marathon. Whether you're a runner or not, you're probably curious about the weather. It's a good thing it's not today.
No, yeah, I mean, it's still going to be foggy tomorrow morning, but honestly, fog when you're running, not too bad.
No, it's usually a little nice.
Could be worse. It's not going to be wind directly in your face, so that's probably a good thing, right? However, we've actually been seeing record cold high temperatures. Yesterday, San Jose with a high temperature of 73 degrees. That was a record low high temperature for the day. In Napa, you could be seeing a record low high temperature this afternoon as well. Basically, that just means that this day, July 26th, we have never seen as cold of temperatures in the summer in these specific locations. Basically, it's been cold out there. We're going to continue to see these below average temperatures all across the Bay Area this afternoon. This morning, though, it's mild. It's in the upper 50s to low 60s. We're not starting off chilly, but we're not going to be warming up all too much throughout the day. Not like we normally do this time of year, at least, as it's going to take a while for the cloud coverage to peel back. It's not until maybe 11 or noon that our inland communities will finally begin to see a little bit more sunshine. But even the afternoon hours, those of us who live in downtown San Francisco, it's going to be very hard to see peaks of sunshine. And directly in the stream and the path of the Golden Gate as well, the foggy conditions are going to continue. But there are changes on the way with a little bit of a warm up. It's not going to be above average, but at least it will be warmer and sunnier, and I'll let you know when you can expect that coming up in just a bit. Back to you, Max.
Thank you for that, Zoe. President Trump's motorcade headed this morning for a site in Scotland where his family business is preparing to open a new golf course. And while in Scotland, Trump will discuss trade with 2 European leaders. But back here at home, attention remains focused on the Jeffrey Epstein case. Let's get to more now from CBS News' Christiane Benavides.
President Trump is spending the weekend at his golf resort in Scotland, where he will celebrate the opening of a new golf course. Next week, he will hold meetings on trade with European leaders. The trip comes as here at home, Trump continues to face questions about Jeffrey Epstein.
People should really focus on how well the country's doing, or they should focus on the fact that Barack Hussein Obama led a coup.
In Florida, Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche, a former Trump criminal defense lawyer, has now conducted 2 closed-door meetings with Epstein's co-conspirator Ghislaine Maxwell in an effort to quiet criticisms the administration is blocking access to the Epstein files. Maxwell is serving a 20-year prison term. Defense attorney David Marcus said she is cooperating freely.
We haven't asked for anything. This is not a situation where we're asking anything in return for testimony or anything like that.
Yet the meetings have raised questions. Liz Oyer, a former U.S. pardon attorney, was fired from the Justice Department in March.
There's every reason to believe that they are seeking to make some sort of deal with Maxwell that will help them solve this political crisis.
The president was asked if he is considering a pardon for Maxwell.
A lot of people are asking me about pardons. Obviously, this is no time to be talking about pardons.
On Friday, a plane flew a banner over the courthouse meeting site, accusing the president and U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi of a cover-up. The president has called the scandal a hoax by the Democrats.
Now to a major shakeup at NASA. More than a fifth of the agency's workforce just applied to leave. Nearly 4,000 employees have signed up for a federal buyout program that's aimed at cutting government costs. If it all goes through, the agency's workforce would drop to around 14,000 people. The exits come as NASA faces budget cuts, leadership changes, and political uncertainty. Still, officials say safety and space exploration, especially missions to the moon and Mars, remain top priorities. In Southeast Asia, deadly clashes among the Thailand-Cambodia border have entered a 3rd day, forcing mass evacuations, putting the entire region on edge. Violence has killed at least 33 people and displaced more than 160,000. The 2 countries blame each other, but the conflict goes deeper. It stems from a decades-old border dispute over ancient temple sites and unmarked territory. Now, both sides are trading accusations of banned weapons, as the Association of Southeast Asian Nations and the United Nations are pushing both sides towards a ceasefire. Here's a look at where the violence is happening. Clashes are stretching along the 500-mile border, with major flare-ups near Koh Kong and Pursat in Cambodia and Trat in Thailand. A Thai town near the border now sits nearly empty, as you can see here. Many residents escaped after nearby shelling shattered homes and businesses. However, some people did decide to stay, with the hope of protecting their homes and helping those in need. 6:34 on this Saturday morning. Coming up after the break, thousands of runners hitting the pavement this weekend for the San Francisco Marathon. We'll have a live conversation with the race director about all of the upcoming events. Stay with us. Studies show that nearly 2/3 of cancer patients undergoing chemotherapy experience some kind of hair loss. Sharon Chin introduces us to 2 East Bay women, Morgan Moore and Lee Hoff, who are offering new hope and confidence to women with medical hair loss who say that they often hide and suffer in silence.
Morgan Moore and her sister-in-law Lee Hoff put their heads together to make a difference in women's lives.
It's important that we use the gifts that we've been given by God to bless the people around us.
Morgan, a licensed cosmetologist, and Lee, an oncology nurse practitioner, help women who lose their hair and self-esteem to cancer treatments and alopecia.
I see it as a way to give them their options and power back and control back in a very challenging time.
Sometimes she just needs a little lotion.
The pair started Morgan and Moore in 2022. The Vallejo business has customized medical wigs for about 100 women, and it fills a gap. Where most wigs are synthetic and for straight hair, Morgan and Lee offer a variety of human hair.
And so there was a huge number of women that weren't being helped, whether they had kinky curly hair or extremely wavy hair. And with the Bay Area being so diverse, it was just a lot of women not being served.
Oh yeah, the WPE.
But they found not everyone who needed a custom medical wig could afford it, and it's not always covered by medical insurance. So Lee and Morgan formed a nonprofit in 2024 called Inclusive Crowns. They raise money to give the wigs away. The first recipient, Kayla Betterina. The mother and special needs educator has dealt with alopecia all her life, but during her pregnancy last year, she lost all of her hair and cut herself off from the world.
I didn't leave my house last year. So she had canceled her wedding. She had stopped going to take her kids to school. She was just feeling embarrassed, and a little bit of shame around that.
A custom wig with human hair costs between $1,500 and $10,000 depending on texture and length. And when Kayla's insurance would not pay, Morgan and Lee gave her a free wig. That brush of generosity changed Kayla's life.
They gave me a lot of my life back just with that confidence. Having a lack of confidence and then having it rebuilt really affects your life a lot.
So far, Inclusive Crowns has provided free medical wigs to several women in need. Lee and Morgan also find joy partnering with other nonprofits to teach women how to care for them.
To be able to offer these women the opportunity to get a piece of themselves back so they don't have to look sick, so they can feel and look better is huge.
It's important to us that people know that they matter on a deep level.
So for providing free customized wigs for women with medical hair loss, this week's CBS News Bay Area Icon Award goes to Lee Huff and Morgan Moore.
Inclusive Crowns takes donations of money and hair. The custom wigs are made in Florida, but Morgan and Lee want to fund a program to help young women start their own businesses making the wigs. And by the way, Kayla, who postponed her wedding last year because of hair loss, is getting married this week. Congratulations to you. And you can nominate a local hero for a CBS News Bay Area Icon Award at kpix.com/icon. Coming up, it may not look like much right now, but the future looks bright for an example of blight in an Oakland neighborhood. We'll introduce you to the neighbors with a unique plan to transform this vacant lot.
I think Oakland's a great place to live, and I think it has a lot of corners that need some love.
Welcome back. A group of Oakland neighbors are working to transform a neglected lot into a vibrant and native garden that will support bees, butterflies, and community well-being. Organizers say they've already gotten Caltrans approval, and now they are raising money to make this happen. They estimate they need around $30,000 to fully realize the garden's potential. This is happening at 54th and Shattuck, an often overlooked portion of North Oakland. Leaders of the project tell me they got tired of waiting around for someone else to create the beauty that they want to see in the town. When Vincent Kitarachagarn looks at this dilapidated, overgrown vacant lot at 54th and Shattuck in Oakland, he calls a spade a spade.
This corner's always kind of been, neglected. It attracts illegal dumping. There's always graffiti here.
But he also sees possibility and thinks of the famous Louis Armstrong song, "What a Wonderful World."
He goes, I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and you. And that's really what I want here. We need more beautiful public spaces in Oakland, and this should be one of those spaces.
So he and neighbors are now working to turn that idea into reality by transforming the lot, which is owned by Caltrans, into a community pollinator garden. And this is what that vision looks like.
We're going to keep those redwood trees because they're a great part of the space right now. And we're going to create a bunch of pollinator plants around it with a walking path, as well as areas for seating. And so you're going to see this completely transformed.
The hope is that it will help alleviate problems with illegal dumping and blight, a problem many people in the town want to see fixed.
The quality of life has declined in Oakland, it feels like, significantly in the last 5 years or so.
Including Rob Selna.
I'm a fourth-generation Oakland resident.
Who is helping bring this idea to life.
It feels as though it's a time where more than ever, members of the public need to step up and fill in some of the gaps that the city has left.
Selna has experience on this front. He's the president of the group Sidewalk Trees and Gardens, and 10 years ago, he and neighbors created the Temescal Community Garden.
What you see here now represents a transformation of a street that was really secluded, blighted, and a target for criminal and bad activity.
When community-led efforts like this arise, there sometimes are people who will say it's the city's job to fix these kinds of problems.
People are concerned about their communities, and at the moment, the city of Oakland, for a variety of reasons, doesn't have the money to take care of them. So you can decide, well, I'm just going to abandon this city and move on because they don't have the money to take care of it, or I'm going to help to bring the city back.
Back on Shattuck and 54th, Vincent says they've acquired the necessary Caltrans permits to proceed. They're fundraising now with a goal of starting construction in October.
I think Oakland's a great place to live, and I think it has a lot of corners that need some love, right? So this is just one of those corners, and we're hoping that we can start something here and hopefully copy-paste it, across the city into other places that need it.
The cross-pollination of ideas, helping a volunteer effort to turn blight into beauty, bloom. There is an online fundraiser right now for the garden. Vincent and Rob say they imagine the work will likely all be volunteer, just as it was with that Temescal community garden. As for the permitting process, Rob says it took about a year to get that all done. Zoe, really nice to see the future of that, and we love to see community-led efforts. Obviously, a tough situation when you have just a vacant lot, and they said, you know what, let's just go do something about it.
Heck yeah, let's do something about the lovely weekend as well and enjoy ourselves, soak up hopefully a little bit of sunshine inland and some comfortable heat.
That would be nice.
Along the coast, I'm so sorry, but it's going to be very foggy once again.
In Zoe's coastal plans, in Zoe's weekend plans, soaking up the weekend, going to the coast is not what you will be doing.
Probably not, although I did walk to the Golden Gate yesterday. Okay. I walked through the mist, through the fog, walked 8 miles.
Oh my gosh.
It was fantastic. My feet hurt, but I feel so great. I just love exploring the city.
You're ready for the San Francisco Marathon.
I mean, just about. I might as well at this point, honestly, but I don't think so. But it's going to be nice out there tomorrow morning if you do plan on running it or watching it or just getting out early in the morning. It might be similar to this one where it's foggy, but honestly, running through fog is kind of nice. And the fog is going to clear a lot quicker tomorrow than it will today, because today the fog is likely going to stick around throughout the late morning and early afternoon hours inland. And along our coast, it's going to stick around all day. And directly along the path of the Golden Gate, you likely are going to be seeing a lot more of that fog today compared to yesterday, and likely also in downtown San Francisco, a bit foggier of weather. So keep that in mind. And just in general, we have been dealing with foggier and cooler than normal conditions for basically the past week, if not the past summer season. 2025 has been well below average, and that will continue throughout the rest of the weekend, this trend. Mid to lower 70s across our inland East Bay communities and down into the Santa Clara Valley. Maybe a few upper 70s sprinkled in there. Upper 60s to low 70s for areas by the Bay and across our North Bay communities. And then low 60s directly along the coast as usual. The coastal communities have not been seeing too much of a temperature change over the past couple of days, but our inland communities are going to be feeling a bit of a warm up by as soon as tomorrow. Tomorrow afternoon, you'll notice those high temperatures, they get a little bit deeper and darker of red across those inland communities. That'll signify a couple of 80 degrees that will be returning to the forecast, and you'll be seeing a lot more of those 80s that are going to be a bit more widespread into next week. But overall, we are likely going to continue to see these below average conditions and these windier than normal conditions as well. Have you noticed that it's actually been well windier than we normally see for the summer season? In fact, San Francisco downtown, we're at our 6th windiest summer on record. And those records go all the way back to the early 1900s. And you can also just see back in the early 1900s, the winds were not nearly as gusty as they are in the past couple of decades. You can definitely notice that those winds have been increasing in the recent decades. And it's not just San Francisco. This is San Jose, also at its 6th windiest first half of summer on record. And those wind gusts, again, have definitely been increasing over the past decade. So you might have noticed that it's been windier this year, but it's also been windier just in general for the past several years. And those wind gusts are likely going to stay pretty gusty this afternoon, anywhere from 25 to 35 miles an hour. It will be calming down just a little bit into tomorrow as those temperatures begin to warm up. So this afternoon, yes, you are still going to be anywhere from a couple of degrees below average along the coast to upwards of 15 degrees below average farther inland. But by tomorrow, we'll be noticing this area of low pressure that's been bringing us those below average temperatures, the onshore flow, and there might even be a couple of thunderstorms over the Sierra. Keep that in mind if you're planning on heading up to the mountains this weekend. Today, you might see a couple of thunderstorms. Tomorrow, lower potential of thunderstorms and a better potential of more widespread sunshine and those warmer temperatures as southerly winds will begin to pick up. Southerly winds, as you all could probably guess, bring in the warmer weather from the south and usher in seasonable conditions. It's still going to be early morning fog giving way to afternoon sunshine. Temperatures aren't going to be above average. They're just going to be back to normal for this time of year versus about 15 degrees below average like what we've been seeing inland. So whether you're heading out to the San Francisco Marathon, maybe you're heading out to the Giants game, you're heading inland to soak up some sunshine, these temperatures are going to stay below average, not just throughout the rest of the weekend and into next week, but really throughout the next 6 to 10 days, throughout the rest of the month of July and to begin the month of August. We are likely going to continue to see these well below average conditions. So keep that in mind. There is no extreme heat on the horizon, which is really, really great news. Our summer season, that's normally the biggest issue, fire danger and heat. So the fact that we're not dealing with either one of those right now, or nearly as much fire danger as we could be seeing, because look at all that moisture out there. Again, really great news. These below average conditions will stick around, though, as you can see all week. They will be getting back into the 80s, though, by as soon as tomorrow. And then they'll stay in the 80s, likely maybe a bit of a warm up here and there, but it's not going to be anything too crazy. It's going to be very seasonable weather from our inland communities to areas by the bay to the coast, upper 60s to low 70s, and then low 60s directly along the coast. But if you do live along the coast, there is good news when it comes to actually potentially seeing more sunshine. That will begin again starting tomorrow and continuing into early next week. Back to you, Max.
Thank you for that, Zoe. A lot of clouds in there. It's older than the Declaration of Independence, and it is still delivering today. The U.S. Postal Service celebrates 250 years of connecting Americans coast to coast. The service started in 1775 with Benjamin Franklin and helped power everything from the American Revolution to Western expansion. It has delivered mail by train, dog sled, and even airplane. Today, it serves nearly every U.S. address with more than 600,000 workers. Despite financial challenges and even the talk of privatization, leaders say the USPS is not going anywhere. To mark the milestone, they are releasing new stamps honoring 2.5 centuries of service. Coming up, a twist in the story of a stolen vintage car about to be shipped overseas, the surprise decision when its rightful owner got it back. Stay with us.
Happy Saturday. We're looking at a beautiful sunrise above the clouds. I know most of you are not seeing this gorgeous view, so I have to show you all right now. The colors were fantastic on top of Black Mountain, but again, most of us waking up below the clouds, below the fog. But there are going to be changes on the way over the next 7 days, and there are going to be warmer temperatures and more sunshine. So those of you who live inland that maybe think that the 70s are a little bit too chilly, 80s are returning, but those of you that like the 70s, enjoy the comfortable heat while it lasts, although we aren't expecting any extreme heat in our future. In fact, for the rest of July and to start off the month of August, it will be really seasonable, upper 60s to low 70s for areas by the bay. Coastal communities, you've been sucked in by a lot of fog and those windy conditions, and there will be more sunshine and slightly warmer weather on the way. Again, that will be into next week. Overall, though, it is going to be very seasonable for this time of year. Most of you who live along the coast will be seeing that no sky July that you normally see this time of year, Max. But hey, you enjoy the few peaks of sunshine more and you appreciate it too because you don't see it as often this time of year.
Absolutely. And it seems like just the right weather for the San Francisco Marathon, for everybody getting out and running tomorrow.
Not too hot, which is always the perfect thing, and not too sunny to kick off the day, which is nice to not run with the sun in your eyes, right?
They're done by 10, 11 in the morning, so it's perfect for those runners. All right. Thank you for that. Finally, this morning in San Francisco, we've got a surprise ending to a story of a vintage car that was stolen and just about to be shipped out of the country.
Yes, Karen Chin's uncle owned this 1970 Mercedes-Benz 280 SL before he passed away. Burglars stole it and sold the car to a vintage collector in the Netherlands. But police were able to track the car to a shipping facility in Richmond just before it was able to be shipped off.
It's just kind of miraculous that it happened. I didn't think it was going to ever come back. We just thought it was gone. So it was just it's an interesting story that, we recovered it.
So police arrested 2 suspects and Chin was able to get the car back. But here is the twist. She decided to sell the car to that same collector in the Netherlands who'd already been duped by the thieves. Quite a twist of events there. A beautiful car, and I just can imagine that car going over the Bay Bridge. We saw that shot of it in that story.
Yeah, at least she's getting the money for it. I mean, she deserves it. That would be so disappointing.
yeah.
I know how important vintage cars are. In North Beach, there's this really cool vintage car shop on Columbus. I don't
Look
know.
at you know your city now.
They're so interesting. You walk in and you see them, they're getting repaired. So it's where the people who own these really nice vintage cars drive their cars in to get repaired. And sometimes if you walk by at the right time, you'll see somebody drive it in. You can ask them about their car. Maybe they'll let you sit in and take a picture if you're nice enough.
Alrighty. Well, maybe a story there. We'll talk about that one after this. Let's talk about what's coming up in our 7 o'clock Saturday showcase. We'll take you into Fremont, where people are moving into an old motel that's been transformed into a major affordable housing complex. It's turning into a win for the entire community. And the last camera shop in San Jose dedicated to developing film. We'll introduce you to the owner, who says younger generations are bringing his business back from the brink.